Hey everybody. I wanted to let you know what we're going to be focusing on this quarter, and it's at this point three main things, and that is the book that we're going to be reading, which is mostly what I'm going to talk about in a minute. And we're also going to continue with vocabulary words, and we'll be doing writing. So I'll let you know more about the vocab and the writing in the next video, but let me tell you what's going on with our novel for this quarter. So I'm going to have four of my class periods, periods 1, 2, 3, and 5, all read the same book. And that book is Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Some of you may have heard of that. It's a pretty interesting book about what happens when a group of schoolboys get stranded from a plane crash on a deserted island and there are no adults. So you can just imagine they have to figure out a way to survive and how everybody has to work together, or can they work together? What does it bring out in people? How do they respond to this bizarre situation that they're in? So the book is loaded with all sorts of interesting things, and we're gonna read it. And I know you don't have the physical book, so what you have a choice of is two things. I mean, you can of course always buy the book on your own if you would like, but you don't have to do that because it is online. You can find the full book for free to read online. You can do it that way, or, and listen, I'm going to send you links to both of these options. So you can either read it yourself online, or if you are more comfortable listening to it and reading along, I found a great YouTube video where someone is reading it, and as they're reading it, what you're seeing is the text on the screen, so you can follow along and hear it. She reads it kind of fast, which is good and bad because it means it doesn't take a long time to get through. But you might have to stop and slow down every once in a while just to make sure that you're following what she's saying. But I think you'll be able to. It's written kind of, it's not an easy read, but once you get used to the language, which will take a little while at the beginning, I think it'll flow for you, and it'll be a good experience to read this type of a book. All right, so I'll send you the links for those two things. I'm actually going to send all of this information that I'm talking about right now to you in an email, but I want to do a video too because, you know, who doesn't love to see themselves on a video? Ugh. Okay. So you'll have a reading schedule, and every week on Thursday, you will have had to have read whatever chapter or chapters are assigned for that week. So your first deadline is next Thursday, March 26th, and that will be for chapter 1. On Thursday, I'm going to have everybody go onto RenWeb into the LMS section. And I don't know if you've gotten an email yet about how to access the LMS part. It means Learning Management System. But once you get that, you'll see how you can go into LMS, and there's lots of really cool options there. So I think we'll all like using that. Anyway, there's a wall there, and I'm going to post some questions about the reading that you've done that week, and everybody has to reply and post something on the wall about it. And that will be how that will be partially your grade for the reading of the book for that week. So like I said, I'm going to email you this information also. Let me see if there's anything I missed telling you. Oh yes, I did miss something. So before you even start reading it, I'm going to send you a link also for another YouTube video that applies to chapter 1, and it's about 9 minutes long, and it's somebody talking about what happens in chapter 1. And I think it'll be helpful so you have an understanding of what the heck is going on in this book, just in case the wording is a little bit difficult for you at first. You'll know what's going on and you'll be able to follow along better. So before you even start reading it, you'll need to watch this video about chapter 1. And the cool thing about this book is, I know this is the stupid English teacher in me getting all excited about this, but it's the symbolism and the imagery and the themes that are in the book, and that's what makes a book, besides a good story, that's what makes a book layered and interesting. So emailing you this, but I'm going to say it here also. The big themes in the book are civilization versus savagery. So we live in a civilized society. There are rules. We follow along with the rules. But there are places in the world where civilization doesn't exist or has fallen apart, and things are more savage, and these like inner natures of people come out, and it's not always good. In fact, it's often not good. So you're going to see these boys that, of course, come from England, and they're very civilized, and you're going to see how they kind of devolve into savagery in this situation that they're in on this island. And then the other big theme is the loss of innocence. So, here you have these kids who are kids and faced with this life or death situation, how it impacts their innocence, basically. And then you have symbolism, which I think is really fun. So that's when one thing, like for instance, a conch shell, one of those big shells that's kind of twisty around, or you can say conch, by the way, conch or conch, either way you want to read that is fine. They're both acceptable pronunciations. But the conch shell symbolizes civilization and order. They use it to call meetings, basically. They blow through the big conch shell and it makes a sound on the island, and then the boys come when they need to have meetings. So the conch shell symbolizes civilization and order. Piggy, one of the characters, his glasses symbolize the power of science and intellectual pursuits. There is a signal fire that the boys have to keep going. The signal fire symbolizes their changing connection to civilization, because remember, there's this whole thing about civilization going downhill. The beast, which I know you don't know what that means yet, but there is a beast on this island, or is there? And the beast symbolizes like the savagery that exists in people and that we keep at bay when we live in a civilized society, but it can find its way out in certain situations. And then there's another thing on the island called the Lord of the Flies, which I'm not going to tell you what that is yet because it's kind of weird and I wouldn't want to spoil it. It doesn't come in until a bit later. But that symbolizes the power of evil. So fun, right? Symbolism. You're going to love it so much. I think we'll have fun with the book, even though it's a pretty serious book. I think you'll find it interesting. So that's what's going on for now. I'll send you more emails and information. I'll send you information about how we're going to be doing vocabulary. We're still going to use Quizlet. And remember how in Quizlet there's a study section? What your grade will be is you'll be responsible for going to Quizlet, learning the words for the week, and then you'll have to do each of those study sections. And I'll be able, as an administrator of Quizlet, to tell when you have done those different study sections. I think there's 4 or 5 of them, but I'll send you the information about that. And writing, I mean, we always do writing. You'll be doing an essay, as we always do in the beginning of every quarter, and more writing as we go through the quarter. And who knows when we'll be back at school. Hopefully it won't be too long, but I guess we all have to be prepared that it could be a long time. It may not be back at all. We'll just have to see how things go. But don't worry, I got you covered for education, because I don't want you to not be educated in the important things like themes and symbolism. Come on, you know it matters. I miss you guys, and I will get in touch with you again soon. Bye.